So a question was asked, how do I do a CMA, a comparable market analysis, on a home that's not even listed nor has it been listed for some time? And it came up last week, and I was really excited by the results people got, but I want to take everyone through uh, one way that I do it. It's not the only way. It's how I've have had success, and I think coming up with value on home. And as soon as I say that, for every agent out there, there's a different way of coming up with comparable market analysis. An important thing before we get started, though, is I want to always try to look at it through the eyes of what an appraiser is going to come up with. And so the more time I can spend talking with appraisers or looking at their results and understanding how they come up with value, I think the more accurate my number becomes, the more professional my number comes. So when you have an appraisal done on a house, make sure you take a look at it. In fact, even keep it, save it to your record so you can use it for a reference on what they look for. Having said that, let's get started. So I'm going to pick on my very, very favorite for sell by owners, the Kidders. And since their house has not been in the MLS for 21 years come September, I'm going to go to tax records, and type in my address, hit search, and there's our home. And you'll see that our pool is a lovely shade of green. In fact, it's greener than our front yard. So here's our home, here's the information, and this is the tax records. Of course, I'm going to use this when doing my sit down and my comps with the seller to make sure that I confirm all the information. I know these things to be true. 1,996 square feet on just shy of 10,000 square foot lot. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into comparables. And our neighborhood is absolutely rich with recent sales in the neighborhood. And they're all in a consistent neighborhood. This is almost too easy. I almost wish it were harder to find, but we've had quite a bit of activity in our neighborhood over the last year, in fact, over the last 6 months. And as I look down the properties, I want to get a consistent feel of the number of bedrooms I'm comparing with. So there are a few 4 bedrooms homes in here, and if I am lacking properties, I would use these. Since I have a number of 3 bedrooms, I might exclude these, but I still want to take a look at it because it goes towards what is a bedroom worth in my neighborhood. Somebody had asked me, how do I come up with the price per bedroom? Well, if I have a broad number of homes to search through and look through, I can take the sales price and divide it by the number of bedrooms, and that gives me just one indication of the value of a bedroom in this area. Actually, after I have decided which comps to use, in this case I'm going to use them all, I'm going to do a print, and in this case it's going to ask me to save it to my computer. And so now I can take a look at my properties side by side. Now this neighborhood right here divided by Valentine is probably consistent. These homes may be slightly newer, but it's still a very comparable area. Quality of homes and upgrade of the neighborhood are all fairly consistent through this neighborhood. What I like about the realist is it puts the properties side by side and I can compare. Now I notice that the comps that I have go back maybe a little bit too long. Okay, I know this home right next to me has actually just been placed back on the market, which is why it's showing as a recent. It sold about 3 years ago. But comparing this home here, which is right around the corner from me and was nicely upgraded for 2,161 square feet, would probably be on the high side of what I would use as a comp at $180 a square foot, 147, 153. When I scroll down, I take a look at the other ones. Again, I'm getting a feeling of $150 a square foot. Again, an appraiser is not going to look at square footage as what he uses to evaluate a home. The square footage is the end result of all the other numbers that he's going to look at. He's going to look at age, location, quality of construction, quality of upgrades, lot size, quality of the lot, if it has a pool, if not, deferred maintenance on the properties. These all go into his calculations, and when he's all done, he puts them all together and he comes up with a number. Voila, he gets a price per square footage, but he doesn't start with the price per square footage. As realtors, though, we do. And there's probably a good reason to. We're taking the results of a lot of appraisals. The benefit is we're not having to do the same in-depth result or work that an appraiser is. We can piggyback off of his work, see what their end results are, and start there. So understanding that, when I talk to an appraiser, the conversation is never about square footage. It's always going to be about bedroom count, location, quality, and deferred maintenance are where I'm going to start my conversation with an appraiser. Okay, having said that, coming up with an idea or a guesstimate of where my home should be looked at or should be priced at if I were to sell it. And this is probably these last two is a rent. This home sold at $141 a square foot. This home is right around the corner from me at $157. So maybe I'm thinking that's the range that I need to be at if I do want to sell my home. Having said that, if I do that range, then it puts it anywhere from about a 180 or 285 to about a 313 pricing range to start with. And Mrs. Kidder has informed me that if somebody comes to the door right now with $313,000, we're probably moving tomorrow. I now want to take a look at RPR. So here's my home. RPR has a value range of 308 on our property. The very first thing I want to do is I want to take a look at what they used for comparables for my home. So I'm going to view details. And what I like about this is, unlike Zillow, Trulia, Movoto, is they come up with a price. I have no idea what comps they used to come up with that price. But I can zoom in, and here's a home that's right around the corner that sold for $334. It was a distressed sale, and now it's back on the market. I believe it sold at $287. In fact, let's look at the details. And what I like about this is you can look at the history of a property, and sure enough, it sold at $282 last August. There was some financing activities on it, and now it's back on it's been refurbished, and now it's back on the market at $334. Oops, let's look at the other homes that they used. And this home over on San Pablo, slightly bigger, sold for $305, and it sold December of last year. And I also know that there were some issues with that home. It wasn't distressed, it just wasn't in the best shape. And let's take a look at these homes here. Smaller in size, sold at $271. There were issues. There was a distressed situation on that home, as well as this home, which is on the market, but this one at $290. Again, slightly bigger. And it's in there was distressed finances. And that's not to say that makes our house worth more, but that does come into play in evaluating the price of what it did sell at. Now, here's an interesting thing, and this home is not being used as a comparable, but right next door to me is a home listed at $460, and at one point this home had been on the market. I believe the buyer bought it for $257, has remodeled it. In fact, he's remodeled it a couple times. He had it on the market for $570, and when he put his on the market at $570, several houses came on the market that I considered to be slightly to grossly overpriced, and they were being influenced by this house that came on the market. You see now that it is at $460, and it's been on the market now since the first of the year. It's dropped $110,000 in price, but at this point it still appears to be slightly overpriced. My hope is that it sells at this, which is going to bounce the value of my home up considerably, and at which point, yeah, we're out of here. Thank you, neighbors. So I take a look at RPR, and it's I feel it supports a price in the 308 to 320 range. If we did some deferred maintenance on the home, we could probably move it up towards that, a higher range. I don't believe that it's worth this refined value of 343. And yet again, it depends. I took into account 343 as my neighbor did sell his at 460 of what my home would be worth. So that's why I keep an eye on it. If it does sell, we're going to take advantage of what I feel arbitrary or artificial bounce in the market and see if we can't take advantage of that. Okay, that's RPR's approach. I want to go back into the Fresno MLS now, and I want to do what I think is probably our first approach we should take in doing a market analysis. I want to go to a map search. I'm going to do a map search, and because I am fairly confident of the neighborhood and what areas I can use for pricing, I'm going to stay. This is marked and bolded right there. I'm going to go all the way to Brawley, to Herndon, and I'm going to follow marks around the corner. I'm going to try to avoid using any homes over in Stonebridge. Oh, come on. I'm going to close my circle. And now I'm going to set the criteria I'm looking for. I only want residents in this area. Again, I like to exclude properties I don't want to search for. Some would just hit include. I have found sometimes that I miss homes in my search. Since I've already got the area selected on my map, I don't need to pick area or zip code school districts. I do want active under contract, and I want sold. You know what, I'm going to pick expired also, just so I can see what price would be too high. And with those criterias, I'm going to limit my search to just 3 bedrooms on the first go around and see what I come up with. Okay, I have 10 homes that meet my criteria. I want to view the homes that I've picked. Now that I have my homes, I'm going to take just a quick glance down the list. And again, I don't use square footage to start with, but it's a good indication of the range of homes that I'm looking at. So I have here, I've got a 155. On my low side, I have 131, 128, 141. Before I use these homes in my comps, I want to take a look at them and see what it was that had them so low. Also, if I have homes that are quite a bit higher per square foot, I'm going to use those before I just use them in my comps. But my initial pass through, I'm going to run them all. So I have all the homes, and from this sheet I'm going to go out and actually look at the homes and physically look at them from the outside at least and see, is this a good comp or is this not a good one, and then use them or not use them as I review them. So I have picked. I'm going to hit CMA, go. So here's the comps I've ran on our home, and I like to have active listings, especially when I'm talking to the seller to show them what the competition is out there. I want to show, and in this case, having this home right next to me makes my house look really, really good. Use that, really good. So homes that are under construction, one over on Wathen, we're not sure what it sold at. It was listed at the 159 a square foot, And then here's homes that have actually sold in my neighborhood, all the way from 127 to 161 on the square footage for an average of 141, which again would make our home worth 180 or 289. I'm sorry, 281, and I would say that's on the low side up to higher range of 159 on the high side, so 317. So we're back in that just slightly north of 300,000 would probably where I would recommend listing the home. Would probably with the maintenance and stuff we have on the home would probably come in just slightly less than 300,000 if we did the repairs and did some major upgrades. I might be able to push it back up to that 340 to 350 range, depending on what my neighbor's house does. So I hope this has helped. Again, there's many ways of coming up with a value. Again, I would start with the map search in most cases to see where it goes. Here, here's my results. I'm going to put them back on the map so we can see. So this would be kind of a fun thing to walk by or go by these homes and see how they really compare, and actually do a physical comparison of my home and see what it's worth. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope this has helped. If you have any questions at all, or if you have a problem property, I'd love to work with you and see if we can't come up with a price on it. Again, thanks for watching and have a great and powerful day.